Good afternoon to all viewers of the Influencer IQ podcast. My name is Giles. Giles and Quinn. I'm a member of the Influencer IQ podcast. Our main focus and our main goal today is to inspire people age 18 to 25 who are around our age to, give them the best information about their careers. What we do as a podcast with my friends Josh is that we gather professional, ambitious people throughout different industries and interview them. Who we have today, we have Josiah and we have Quinn, a sixth former who are very ambitious and does so many side hustles. Josh, please, could you, start us off?
So, first of all, before we start, I'd just like to say, Josiah, I love your bonnet. It suits you a lot.
Thank you.
It makes you look really nice. And I like the style of a very entrepreneurial and very successful person at such a young age.
Thank you, man. I do appreciate it.
First of all, I want to start with Quinn. Just let us into a little insight of what you've been doing in the last 2 years to kind of help you get into what industry you want to get into, and kind of what industry would you love the most to get into, mainly.
Okay. So I've always had a dream of creating an engineering agency. So a lot of my things I've been doing across the past 2 years has been building up all the small skills towards gaining the knowledge into getting into that industry. Such as with my dad, he does a lot into sound systems, and that includes going into electricity with wires, setting up the speakers and amps, and going to different areas such as Formula One to be building up structures, which is very useful in terms of engineering. Before I joined sixth form, about August to beginning of September, for 2 weeks I did a work experience in engineering at my uncle's company, specifically working in creating things such as doors, heavy duty products, very heavy duty products, proper field of metal, which allowed me to gain insight into the not only the trading behind different engineering companies, such as big scale to small scale companies and the request that goes on. I also learned how to do a little bit of planning and looking into schematics, which helps me quite a lot.
Okay. I mean, obviously, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not very much the best in engineering. I just like to promote young people's ability. So, like, for the audience at home who is similar to me, I don't know about you, Josiah and Giles, but could you explain what these things are kind of more in depth to show your knowledge of these skills?
Okay. So, in terms of schematics, usually with engineering and STEM and construction-based people, rather than do measurements in centimeters or meters, they do measurements in millimeters quite often because of how precise they have to make these products. They also, most commonly in these industries, they use axle grinders, not only to smooth out materials, but also there's different types of joints that goes into these materials to help them build together, rather than just use things like glue, like 3-point joints or 4-point joints, which are different types of techniques.
3-point joints and 4-point joints?
So a 3-point joint is type of joint that is used in metalworking and woodworking. It is there has been historic roots in places such as Japan, where essentially you cut joints in multiple directions, creating 3 points, hence the name, and 4 points, hence the other name, and you tightly hammer them into another set of joints that is perpendicular to that joint, usually for things such as tables. And the friction caused by that means that the joint is steady and in place, and all you have to do is polish it and add a little bit of glue, rather than having to, say, drill into the wood and potentially damage it on the inside.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, Quinn, that's really, really nice. And to be honest, it shows that you're very young. You know a lot about the field. It's very, very good, in my personal opinion. Now, Giles, I want you to kind of go on to what you were going to say because you have something really interesting to say that you told me about this beforehand.
Yeah, I actually have a lot of things to say to both Quinn and Giselle. First, Giselle, I heard that you also started a podcast. Please, could you tell me more about your podcast?
Sure. I've started a podcast with 4 of my other associates in my sixth form, and the podcast started from we were just having a conversation about ethics, right? And I said this might actually be nice to have as a podcast. And you know how you used to say things and people won't really act on it? And this time we did. So we acted upon it. I think we've recorded 3 episodes. The 4th one we're going to record next week. And we have the studio in our sixth form to record it in as well. So there's that. Once we get the editing done, we should be uploading shortly.
Oh, that's good. What type of topics do you guys talk about in this podcast?
Well, okay, so for me, I spoke about people of colour and living in the West as a person of colour. We spoke about academic pressure. We spoke about beauty standards at one point. Those kind of topics, you know.
Yeah, that's really random. But yeah, that is...
What?
It's random, but it's topical issue, like
Yeah.
first world problem.
Okay. I mean, obviously, it's something that you guys obviously have a good knowledge of. So getting out on the internet and getting money for it and actually producing content is something that's really, really nice. And for me, I like to produce things, not necessarily to just watch things and consume. I like to produce, if you get what I mean, because I feel like that's the best way you can improve yourself in life. You know what I mean? So I feel like what you're doing is a very good thing. And obviously there's an audience for that, so why not make the content? There's no reason not to, you know?
Exactly.
Which platforms do you guys, post your podcast on?
We're not posting it yet. I'm not in charge of where it gets posted or the social media actors of it. I'm more in charge of arranging the groups and discussing what topics we speak about. That would be a different associate who talks about that, where it's uploaded. I know we edit on Adobe, on different Adobe platforms. For now, it's on like a OneDrive. All the raw files are on OneDrive, and the edited versions will be uploaded. I'll find out soon once they're all edited, and I'll tell you immediately. But
If you would like, you could
Wait,
state the name of
stop.
so we can follow.
Stop. Right. Giles, I'm going to be honest with you, yeah? You're not following up from the question. So you're not giving more context.
Recording stopped.
I'm just, like, it's too robotic. You're like, oh, Josiah, what podcast did you make? Josiah describes it. And you're like, oh, what else did he do? There's no, like, back and forth. It's literally, you're asking him, it's like, you're just, like, a robot interviewing. That's what it's like to me, and I'm getting bored listening to it. Okay? Like, I'm just telling you, do it again, but try to add on information. Like, for example, yeah, when I'm talking to Quinn, did you not realise when I was talking to you, I give my own input, or I give, like, my kind of, I say my reaction to Quinn. You're just like, Josiah speaks, and you're like, oh, what did you do this? And then Josiah speaks and goes, oh, so how did you do this then? So it's like, it's not, I don't want you guys to think of it as like I don't want you, Giles, to think of it as an interview. I want you to think about it as a conversation with a colleague or someone you know. Yeah? Don't take your time, I'm just saying.
Okay, Quinn, can you start recording again?
We're not going to start over again. I want you to go off the question that you
Quinn,
just
can
did.
you start recording again?
I'm telling you what to do. Go off what you just said to Josiah.
I get it.
Okay.
I get it, Quinn.
It's okay.
We are running out of time. I have a schedule to do.
3, 2, 1.
Recording in progress.
Josiah, please can you explain more about your podcast?
my podcast is me and 5 other of my associates. We have a conversation in the morning about ethics, and I thought this would make a great podcast. So usually people say things and we wouldn't act on it, but because my sixth form has a recording studio and all, and we're quite close with the teacher. We of course use the studio there and talk about different kind of topics, more modern day topics that affect us in society.
Okay, that's good. Josh, is there anything you would like to add?
Well, I mean, obviously that is quite a good thing what you're doing, and as someone who necessarily likes to more make stuff than consume things, especially with social media being so big these days, I think what you're doing, even if it's about ethics, even if it's about what you were doing before, what you said before, I think it's a really good thing at such a young age to have that maturity, to have that impetus, and mainly that initiative to create a platform where you can produce whatever you like. And you know, if there's an audience for it, there's no risk in producing that content, in my opinion, and I think it's only a benefit.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. Especially with the side hustles that I've been doing as well, and all of you guys been doing. This would definitely help people, get inspired by, our motivation. So our motivation for this podcast is to, inspire others, as I said before. However, by doing that, what I've done to inspire others is that I've also built different types of side hustles and small businesses. Like one of my recent projects was fireworks, which didn't turn out the best because of management roles, management issues, and in general, advertising and marketing. We were on a small budget. However, that also gave me the experience and the edge above my peers, and it also helped my colleagues that were also there also strive for greatness in the future as well. I would like to know more about Quinn's, Quinn's adventures and the different things that he's done as a teenager.
Well, one of the things I did earlier than my other more recent projects during the event of year 9 was Young Enterprise. Now, Young Enterprise is a charity organization that goes towards schools and young people to basically allow them to sort of be in competition and create their own businesses. And they get awarded on things like sustainability, profit, like how creative your works are and their different uses and how they can help people. And it's usually the contenders are sixth formers usually, but Bonus Pastor at my school was able to allow year 9s to also join that event. We decided I was a person who was more into looking what we can do. So I was a researcher, but also I was a secretary in terms of time management towards all the different peoples that were involved in the project. I would help set up meetings. I would help record the meetings and put them on spreadsheets, and I would delegate tasks towards different individuals. And by the end of it, we gained the award for the whole of East London. Yeah, for the whole of East and South London, I gained the award for sustainability and for the best candle products that was out there.
Oh, so you guys sold candle products in year 9, as I've
Yeah.
It's really impressive. I mean, what, at the age of 14, 15?
At that age.
Really
And we started making it ourselves as well. So we decided, we did a lot of things. We had a lot of research into it and how to make them, how to buy them, what types and how and who they sell to, the target market, a lot of things into that.
That's really, that, to be honest with me, I don't know about you, Giles, and you, Josiah, but for me, that's really, really interesting. I mean, I like to hear you guys' input, but for me, really, I think that's something that I really, even at that age, I wasn't very much clued on about. And starting off at such a head start is so impressive at your age. And I think having that kind of impetus is so important at a young age, because as I know, and I think Giles would know, and Josiah would know, even you would know, Quinn,
Mm-hmm.
whoever starts off first always has a head start. So you having that, you've already had a head start than 99% of people in your year, which is such an impressive thing and something you should really be proud of.
Thank you. It definitely puts a lot into my mind about how little we actually understand about it, how what influences our choices in terms of consumption. For us, it's just a product on the shelf for £10. But for the people behind that, you actually have to look into why it's £10. Your cost and your revenue, right? In terms of how it influences people, even different scents that are around. They might be masculine scents, feminine scents. They might be towards younger or older people, and the different times of year that you sell these things. All of these culminate, and I'm starting to understand that just a little bit more than before.
Good. So yeah. Giles, did you want to say anything else?
Yeah, I would like to say, what were your aims and objectives when creating those products?
Well, for one, I'll just say that the name of the company we created was called Celestial Essence. We aimed at the time to, for one, be sustainable environmentally, due to the fact that we did batch production. So we would all go into an area where we had our machine set up. Two of my colleagues definitely were mainly into that production process, and we aim to be able to produce sustainably, but also affordably, because those sort of processes are very underutilized at the moment. It's either you're unsustainable and cheap, which means the quality is usually worse, or you're overly expensive and you sort of block people away due to your pricing. So we try to focus on finding a range in between that, where we can still sell our products and still have demand, but we can still be good for the environment and good for the people that use our products due to health benefits rather than health risks of cheap products.
That makes sense, doesn't it? So I'm guessing that you've learned so many skills from your Yan'an business trip, when creating the candles, from the production all the way to the sales. What were your main three skills that you've adopted from that achievement?
Oof, my main three skills, I would definitely say time management. As somebody who was 14 years old at the time, turned 15, I think just at the crux of when we really started into that business, I really started learning my time management skills from there, where I was the one setting up the meetings, I was the one researching into these things. So because of that, I took a lot of role and responsibility on my shoulders. So due to that responsibility, I had to learn how to manage my time and to get other people to manage their times properly. So in terms of taking the responsibility role, I would definitely say my second most is probably communication, as as a bunch of 14-year-olds that has pulling their money in to start creating products. We were clueless at the beginning, right? And us being clueless at the beginning and being 14-year-olds with many differing opinions on how to do things, I had to learn how to sort of be an icebreaker between each individual and to stop them from spiraling out of control and creating conflict. So definitely conflict management in that case. And last but not least, I'll probably say leadership skills, because at a point in time, I wasn't the top leader, but I was upper in the chain of command. So I would have to learn how to delegate towards people and how to also take responsibility for my actions and take responsibility for actions of people below me in our chain of command, so that the whole situation can run and flow smoothly as it did.
What about you, Josiah?
About any opportunities I had in that
you've
art.
learned? Yeah, any skills that you've learned.
If I'm being honest, the career I want to go down, it requires a lot of education first. So moreover, I've been focused on research and educating myself further to get to the career path that I want to get to, which is hemopathology, which is simply the study of blood in a laboratory setting, right? I've always been interested in working in a laboratory because I'm interested in learning more and experimenting with things. And I've always had a passion of that since I was young. So I haven't been doing lots of things to get skills in terms of business-wise, but intellectually I've been gaining a better grasp. You know, one thing I could add is that...
Yeah. No, carry on.
Yeah, the one thing I would add is that because it's difficult to get work experience in a medical field, I know how to, I've been better at communicating over time to get those kind of connections with people, because without connections, you're not going to get far in this field of work. So 100%. I had to learn by myself to get the connections with other people and get the experience I need to get as well.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, obviously you were talking about connections then, getting into that field of work. Who kind of taught you that connections is such a big thing? Because, you know, I had to learn that off family, to be honest, and people who I have inspiration off online. So who did you learn that from?
I've learned that from my family as well. Just my family.
Is there anyone specific?
I said that specifically.
Okay.
And my auntie as well. She also works in the field I want to work into.
I would like to add, you see when you said that you didn't really have any, you don't really have any, development skills or any skills that you've learned over, the past year or the past 5 years. I actually disagree, because education, as you said, is actually a skill and actually serves different types of skills. I can give you an example: dedication, dedicated to your work. As a person who's studying medicine, Josiah, you got very, very good GCSE grades. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Which means that you took the time and effort out to, dedicate yourself into studying and learning. That's one thing. Another thing is problem solving. Solving problems like math work. It helps a young child develop from their incy-betsy little age of 5 years old to age 17. And by having these different educational skills, it can also help you prepare for the future. So I want to disagree on the thing you said, that you don't really have that much skills.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
But however, you do have so many different skills that I can definitely see from what you've done, especially on your podcast, and what you would achieve after university. Josh, would you like to add anything else?
I mean, obviously, I like the high expectations, and I like, Josiah. I understand you said that you kind of haven't achieved a lot, but you have, and it shows through your GCSEs. It shows through, as Giles said. To be honest, your A-level mock results as well are doing really well. And yeah, I think I like the high expectations. I have it, Giles has it, Quinn has it, but I feel we need to, as friends, not have expectations that high for our friends, if you know what I mean, and just tell them, no, you're doing this right, you're doing that right. So 100%, yeah, I agree. I wanted to ask you two a question. This is a question for both of you. At this point right now, where do you see yourself with the careers you have being in the next 10 years?
So in 10 years,
yeah,
I would be specializing into... I'd be a junior doctor, and I'd be specializing into... No, I'd be a junior doctor, and I'd be specializing in pathology.
Okay.
So I'd be working in a clinical lab. I'd be earning quite a bit already. But, of course, in medical school takes a lot of time, so...
Okay. Quinn, what about you?
Yeah.
For me, I would probably be in a similar position to Josiah. I would definitely be an engineer, mechanical engineer. I was specializing towards buildings, or what I've been finding recently interesting into the university I want to go into of Plymouth is marine engineering, which I might start specializing in, especially because things such as the exploration of the sea and its resources it's very minimal, and for that to happen, you need to create things to continue to explore those areas, which means the type of work I would have is definitely going to be in demand. In After probably about 5 years of university or degree apprenticeship, I would probably be as medium level in case of engineering, and potentially gain enough experience and knowledge to maybe start looking into how engineering agencies work to start building my platform in that area.
You said that you're looking into going to either uni or a degree apprenticeship. As a person who doesn't really know much about degree apprenticeships himself, could you tell me more on what degree apprenticeship is and the benefits and drawbacks of, doing a degree apprenticeship?
Okay. Well, degree apprenticeships have the different levels. Level 6 and level 7 education. Just like how level 3 education is GCSEs, 4 is A levels, 5 is undergrad, and 6 and 7 is usually postgraduate. It is usually you go through a company which is in communication with a university for you to get a degree in a certain subject, whilst having mostly getting experience on the job. Usually having 1 day at university and the rest of your days whilst you're working. You can go through a big company to secure your process, and so in case that the company is not likely to go bankrupt and for your apprenticeship to be ruined. Or you can go through a university if they have courses that allow that, which means they would be obligated to find you a company to have your apprenticeship through. And like I said, similar sense, 1 day of schooling, the rest of it at work, and that is you in person gaining experience in the field you want to go into.
Yeah, okay, that sounds really, really good.
What about you, Giselle? Are you looking into going into a degree apprenticeship or university?
Definitely university. There's not
Why
many.
is that?
Well, medicine especially. Medicine is saving lives. So having someone that's quite inexperienced or uneducated in a practical area, they need to have the knowledge basis first. I definitely get more of that experience as I specialize, which is similar to an apprenticeship, but like it's a genuine issue. You get money as you specialize. It's education and a job. So I suppose you could call it an apprenticeship in a way, but it's just what all doctors do after they graduate, specializing. So it's similar that you get the experience, the hands-on experience, but I'm gonna have to go through university first and get my knowledge first.
Okay, I mean, I like that you want to obviously go to university and get that knowledge. I mean, if there was kind of the option for a degree apprenticeship and a university, what one would you choose?
What university would I choose, or what apprenticeship would I choose?
What I'm saying is, so if a degree apprenticeship was available in medicine, and it was a good route to go down, but also you have a university, which is a really good route to go around, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to choose one of them two, what one would you choose?
If I had the option, like if they were both equal and if they were both accepted in the same way, I would choose a degree apprenticeship because I would earn as well as getting educated.
Okay.
But as long as I get the knowledge with it as well, because I could be a bit biased because I enjoy learning myself, right? The idea of university does fascinate me a bit. So I'm a bit biased when it comes to that.
Okay. I mean, for me personally, I like to also ask Giles, because as obviously we are hosts. Giles, what one would you like to go into? I mean,
me personally, I don't really have a actual understanding so far about the two. Of course, I do know what a degree apprenticeship and what a university is. However, I haven't really fully focused on that yet because one thing about degree apprenticeships is that it could be very time consuming. So it's 80% work and 20% study, which means 80% of the work or 80% of my time will be on work. And what if I don't focus on my studies? That could also be a huge factor for me. But however, I don't really want to spend a lot of money. Fun facts actually, you spend 54,000 for the whole 3 years going to university. 54,000 in debt. I know that sounds scary to somebody our age 17, who is just starting off their careers, but at the same time, an apprenticeship would be good because you earn while getting paid. So I have to weigh my options, but for now, I'm leaning towards the apprenticeship side because of my aspirations and my future. But, currently, I haven't made a decision. What about you, Josh?
To be honest, I'm the same. Right now, I'm kind of leaning towards a degree apprenticeship. So I want to go into banking, specifically investment banking. For me, I think the degree apprenticeship it's not about the money with the uni. It's not about that. I think for me, it's more about where I'm going to learn better. Am I going to learn quicker in a workspace where I get to network with people, work in the workspace, which is really important, by the way. Create a foundation of people to be with. These many things are so important, and even living the lifestyle of that type of worker is obviously a very, very important thing. I don't know about you, Josiah, or Giles, in your workspaces, but that's why I kind of feel like a degree apprenticeship for me is the way I want to go. University, obviously, you have the other sides, obviously we only have one life, so going and socialising with people, making connections, even in uni can kind of work. Getting to know people, that you're probably going to work with in the future, that is very, very important, but I feel like it's more likely to be in the degree apprenticeship, and I'm going to be able to learn in the degree apprenticeship and live like an investment banker in the future, And I don't know about you guys, but that's the main reason why I would like a degree apprenticeship.
I
Would I be able to change my...
So I agree. Okay, so I agree with Josh as well, especially nowadays. When it comes to university degrees as a general, due to the increasing amount and investment in universities, there's a lot of degrees out there. So degrees are sort of becoming oversaturated, and their values decrease over time. Whilst in comparison, because of the age range that we have our education up to nowadays, for our age group, in comparison to our parents' age group, we have very little practical experience. So because of that, experience is now the number one thing that employers start to look for. So going through a degree apprenticeship means that you're going to have that experience in that sense, along with the pay.
Yeah, 100%.
I do want to add a few things, actually. Sorry to interrupt, but I'd like to actually change my answer. As much as I think a degree apprenticeship is a good idea, again, I said I was biased. I actually prefer to go down the university route, even if I had to do options. I know in this day and age, like when I said before, that degrees are becoming oversaturated, but because of the degree I want to get into, I get experience regardless when I specialize, which is similar to the degree apprenticeship, but it's actually just generally how you go down that job route, right? So me personally, I'd rather go to university because you live once and it's an experience in of itself. You get to build those connections, you get to live your life a bit, and you get that life experience. But I also want to I know I'm not the host, but I'd also like to ask a question to you guys as well, in general, it's been in my mind. Because I don't plan to stay in this country after I get my degree.
Oh, really?
I don't plan to stay here at all.
Me too.
I plan to go to Canada, if I'm being honest with you.
Why is that?
Canada.
Why is that?
the cost of living over there is a lot lower. The cost of living is lower over there. It's easier to get a job in my field there. The money for my job over here is so much less than it would be over the other side of the Atlantic, you know. And if you want to think on a wider scale, global warming is a problem. Yeah, most places are not going to do well. Yeah, there's a few countries I'd say that are suited for global warming that will actually improve and benefit, and Canada's one of those. So for me and my future kids, if I ever have kids, I want to secure a future for them and myself.
Wait.
And the best place to do it.
Wait. Right.
When we
Sorry. Explain that again. Quinn.
Explain what part again?
Don't eat in the meeting. It looks unprofessional.
Right.
Alright, I want you to explain that all over again.
Ooh, okay.
1 second, because the main reason why I stopped it was because
Quinn,
my laptop's actually about to run out of battery, so 1 second.
Recording stopped.
Right, there you go.
You were done so well. That's fine. We can cut it out. There's 3 more minutes in the meeting.
Do you wanna end this now?
Hold up. How long was the last recording?
I couldn't see how long it was. It just uploaded, so I need to actually go to it.
Okay.
So,
roughly around, I think it was like 20-30 minutes for the first one and the second. So it was about 40 together.
Okay.
Right?
I think 40 minutes is good.
40 minutes.
You don't want a really long podcast unless you're talking about a really extensive topic. People gonna get bored quick.
But have we kind of covered what we need to cover? Do you feel like?
Anyway, there was some more that I could have said, but you know, I think it's calm.
Charles, I just want to say as well, like, well done all of you guys. First of all, before we do the outro, I think that was really, really good. And I feel we spoke a lot about very important things, and I feel like everything came across very clearly.
Wait, hold up. Can you say that while Quinn is recording?
alright.
I'm recording
Recording
right
in
now.
progress.
Say, begin. Outro.
So, I like that. Wait, no, because Josiah has to describe everything again.
Do I?
Go. Yes. Actually, no. Because I cut him off, I think. Or did I?
It's fine. Just do that.
Okay. Anyway, so, guys, well done for today. Josiah, I really appreciate what you just said. I feel like, obviously, everyone has their different opinions, and you know, we all live once, and I feel as entrepreneurs or people who want to be successful in work, not even entrepreneurship, but just in work or in life, maybe having that free time while still learning at a very good level may actually benefit you when you're younger, you know, creating more memories, making more friends. But that's obviously opinions that people differ with, as some people are like, have the red pill stance in saying, oh, necessarily you should work now to, you know, get richer when you're older or have more fun when you're older. But sometimes that's not what people want. And I feel like in my life anyway, I always feel that you should do the things you love before anything else. I don't know if you guys agree or not, but I feel like you're always going to put 100% effort into something that you love. And yeah. That's what I wanted to say.
100% agree with that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I believe this podcast, this interview that we just had, will inspire a lot of people in different areas of the world and online. I would like to say thank you very much for your time, and our next interview will be very soon and very shortly. See you guys later. Thank you.
Alright.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Guys,
See you later.
Recording stopped.
guys,